You expect the people who hold the key to your child's care are upstanding and trustworthy. But tonight, the Contact 5 investigators discover a new trend.
Daycare owners with a history of problems still caring for children and the people who you think can do something with little to no power to stop them. Here's Contact 5 investigator Katie LaGrone.
Kidsville Early Learning Center touts 3 South Florida locations, a lengthy list of accreditations, and an environment that it calls nurturing, caring, and learning. But some say the primary nurturing here is for money, and they say its owners are playing a game to keep it coming in. Hi there, how are you? I'm looking for
months.
Who's the owner?
I don't know.
The Contact 5 investigators have been on the hunt.
You don't know who the owner is?
No.
To find out who owns these local daycares.
So we just walked into this Kidsville location here in Boynton Beach and spoke with the director. I asked her who the owner was. She said she didn't know. Marcius?
And why those seemingly in charge seem so uninterested in being found.
I know, but we just want to know why you keep changing the ownership of Kidsville. Is that why you're playing this shell game?
I believe Marcia Myrtle is the owner, maybe not on paper, but in her mind and in the way she runs things across all the centers, she is the owner.
After nearly a year at its Delray site, Letitia Leon tells us she was fired.
Maybe I was asking too many questions.
I knew that it couldn't be anything positive going on.
Former director Cassandra Oziago said she was given specific instructions when she, too, asked questions.
And I was told by Miss Marcius when I first started there that if anybody ever asked me who the owner was, I wasn't to say.
She quit after 3 months.
Kidsville Learning Center.
Yes.
Good daycare?
It's a daycare we've had many challenges with.
Warren Eldridge is director of the office that doles out government dollars each year to daycare centers in Palm Beach County.
This is taxpayer dollars going to provide care to our most vulnerable children.
But for nearly 2 years, his office has been tracking Kidsville.
So we're constantly chasing to try to figure out who is buying the business.
It's like a game.
It is. It's a shell game. And it's a shell game in order to continue to receive the funds.
In 2014, the owners of Kidsville, Marcius Myrtle and her husband, falsified a government application for child care meal money. According to records, Marcius also failed to mention her own criminal record for fraudulent use of a credit card. So the government cut off that meal money.
How does a child care center lose federal funding and still be able to keep other funding to stay open for business?
If they lose funding for fraud in any case, in my opinion, they should not be able to receive funding.
It's the little-known secret now trending in the Florida daycare industry. Problem daycare owners who lose federal money resort to a legal shell game of sorts, changing out who's in charge to keep one thing rolling in: money.
It is a problem statewide.
Matt Goosey is president of the State Association of Early Learning Coalitions. He fields calls from county directors frustrated with this so-called daycare shell game.
I've heard stories about bus drivers being sold businesses.
In Kidsville's case,
You had to hire an investigator
We have actually had to hire an investigator through the sheriff's office
to track
this
this shell game.
to track the shell game and other cases of fraud.
what did the investigator discover?
It turned out, as we continued to look into it, it was sold to a half-brother.
And that wasn't the only time.
And that wasn't the only time. The ownership has been changed to 2 daughters
So you're saying they've sold the daycare 4 times to relatives?
4 times in the past 14 months.
Today, the person listed in charge, Stenise Saget.
So you don't know who a Stenise Saget is, or the owner?
We never found Stenise Saget,
Hey, Marcius? Katie LaGrone with Channel 5.
but we did catch up with Marcius Myrtle
Marcius?
outside Kidsville's corporate office.
We're trying to find out why you keep changing ownership of Kidsville. Marcius, why should parents trust you? You think you're hiding the truth here? Marcius?
Myrtle, in her Mercedes, left without a final word. But those who believe they've figured out her game have their own last words.
I don't think the owners have the children's best interests at heart.
So I'm hopeful that it will be closed because it needs to be closed.
Do I think they're devoted to the kids? No. I think they're devoted to their bottom line.
The Early Learning Coalition just suspended all state money going to the 2 Kidsville sites in Palm Beach County, totaling nearly $400,000 annually. The reason? A pending fraud investigation inspired in part by our reporting. 115 children will now be relocated to other daycares. To find out how you can learn more about your own daycare and its ownership, head to our website, WPTV.com. Katie LaGrone, WPTV News Channel 5.